So my friends, family, esteemed colleagues, again, something I have mentioned many times but never actually made a specific video about is arthritis. And I was asked to talk about it a little bit. So, what is arthritis? Arthritis is a problem of deteriorating joint where a cartilage has been worn out. Arthritic pain, pain of joints, whoever has them, they know that they could be excruciating and basically debilitating. You cannot move that particular joint. Now, how that occurs? When we are properly hydrated on blood level, most likely we are going to be well hydrated on cellular level. So what happens that cells, when they are well hydrated, they are pressurized, round, and they can regulate very well their acidity and detoxify. Now, what does that mean? That every tissue which such a cell is forming is going to basically function properly. It is in relation to joint, which tissues we have there? Well, we have bone, we have a cartilage, and then we have tendons and muscle. All this is needed for joint to work correctly. Now, when we talk about cellular dehydration, we know that when cell dehydrates, it starts losing form, so it becomes, it's like a ball that is full of air, and now you start deflating it. Well, it slightly diminishes in size, but it's changed the shape. From round becomes oval. And again, this is also diminishing overall size. Now, one thing is the size, another thing is now the function, because less plasma the cell can hold. Again, cell doesn't hold water, it holds plasma. In a well-hydrated, gel-like substance, which is basically protein loaded, well-hydrated protein. So, like, we have this kind of a liquid in many parts of our body, our nervous system, our eyeball, our lens, our joints. Now, when cells become dehydrated, well, they cannot properly detoxify and they cannot regulate their acidity. Well, they have problem with it. So that means that cellular voltage is going to be disturbed, lower. Muscle tension depends on this voltage. Lower voltage, lower muscle tension. Again, we have to understand that we are electronic robots. We run on electricity. The flesh and everything else, this is brain programmed to show this way of this robot in this reality of ours. It's brain programming. Same as computer. Changes zeros and ones into a sound, into picture, color, and shape. Same does the brain. But then the body is way more sophisticated and shows us certain frequencies. Again, created by brain or received by brain, and it shows them the way through our senses as we are being programmed. So it is way more sophisticated than if we put some 3D visual glasses or our hologram that we are making now. It's a far cry from this sophistication, but it's the same principle. So when muscle cells dehydrate, the muscle itself diminishes slightly in size, but it becomes mushier because tension is gone. And because of it becomes also more frail. It breaks easier. Same happens with tendons that are connected to the muscles and connected to the bone. We have now occurrence in many athletes, not now, but already for many years. It's quite common that muscle, or that athlete who is regularly exercising, and all of a sudden, in a race, breaks tendon or rips a muscle. It's a common occurrence. How is that possible? Because everything is strengthened, muscles are bigger. Yeah, they are bigger and they are more brittle because they are dehydrated on a cellular level. So what happens now with joint? We know that the joint is one bone that has a head, concave, convex, and then another bone with a head concave, and then in between where they join together there is a cartilage. Why is a cartilage? To make the area very smooth, like a mirror, like a glass. And then the bones are held in a place with muscles which are connected to the bones through tendons. So now if you have lost muscle tension, what happens? The joint is not tight, the joint becomes loose. So it doesn't move only this way, but it slides, it moves, it's loose muscle, it's loose tension. Now, what another thing happens with the joint? If muscle is dehydrated, why are the muscle cells dehydrated? Because blood is toxic, or there is something toxic in the blood which prevents cells to hydrate. So if muscle cells is not hydrating, well, same will happen with a cell of cartilage. So the cartilage becomes dehydrated. And cartilage, when it's well hydrated, every time you insert pressure on it, it squirts a drop of water, which means it becomes perfectly lubricated. Again, it's not water. It's water with protein. It's this gelatin. Okay? So what happens if you take one piece of glass and you put another piece of glass on it? Why glass? Because they are very plain, very smooth. You can with a finger, or 2 fingers or 3 fingers, you can exert a little pressure on the top glass and you can move it around, and it moves because it's both surfaces that touch are smooth. And what happens? You feel little problem there, okay? You feel a little back pressure from it because of friction. And now, if you move the glass back and forth, you can do it, but if you move it fast for a little time, you will notice that the glass is warming up because of the friction. Same happens with the joint. If you have a cartilage, and now cartilage is dry on a cellular level, when pressure is exerted, no water is squirted out. So you don't have lubrication. And now, if you are walking or doing something with such a muscle, well, you are grinding a cartilage. Now, when you have a problem with a knee, well, you have a problem with every joint in the body, but knees, hips, including the ankles, they carry very big load, and they are highly pressurized. You stand upright. Elbow, not so much, because there's not really pressure other than muscle create, unless you are doing something, you push-ups or whatever. Fingers, same thing. Shoulders, a little bit more. And then vertebra. Quite a bit of pressure. Lower you go, more pressure. So when we have a back pain, where it usually happens? Lower back. More pressure there. But because also now have to take in consideration friction, because neck is moving a lot, all kinds of ways, dry discs, cartilage discs that separate the vertebra. Well, a lot of movement, and even though it's less pressure, still head is heavy, and muscles holding it together. Less tension, but they still hold it together. So, more movement, more grinding. If you're a typist, more movement, there's not much pressure, but a lot of movement, dry joints, dry cartilage. Pop up, you are grinding the cartilage, and it is heating up, which can cause pain. So you feel like pain in your fingers, pain in your knees after walking, because the cartilage is grinding, the joint is overheating, and this causes it to diminish. Number one, cartilage, as it dehydrates, is diminishing the size anyway, but now you are grinding on top of it. So after a while, it may take years, depending how active you are in dry state, you wear out the cartilage. And the bone itself doesn't really hurt, doesn't have sensory nerves, but periost, which is the fine layer, top layer of the bone, that has sensory nerves and hurts like hell. And when periost starts touching, wow, that's a pain. It's like if you have root canal done, that's type of a pain. So when we get to that stage, we call it arthritis. We are there. Cartilage is gone in some places. Periost starts touching, pain shooting through the body. But, you know, this is why we have different stages of arthritis. Now, body is always trying to help itself, and it will try rehydrate, especially when it notices it's a problem, like you are overheating the joint. heat sensor. We are full of sensors and switches and programs what to do in certain situation, what body does automatically. So as soon as you start overheating the joint, the thermal switch clicks in. Okay, we gotta cool this. More liquid. Now, the knee, the joint in general is very poorly vascularized. The blood vessels that go through the bone are very small and very few. So the lubrication cannot be done correctly because cells are dry. So help comes from the outside. Tissue around produces inflammation. It inflames as a response, emergency response. It brings more liquid there, more lymph, because it's basically joints are supplied mostly through lymphatic tissue. And the knee may swell. And pain comes to alert you, stop moving this freaking joint. It doesn't work correctly. It needs lubrication. It needs maintenance. So we end up with painful joints and swollen joints. It's not retention, it is inflammation. Sometimes, again, we are programmed this way. If the problem becomes severe, there will be accumulation of liquid there to increase the overall pressure in the joint, to keep it more stable, and to prevent you from moving. Yeah, but we have these doctors, experts, and they know exactly what to do to get rid of the pain and to get rid of this liquid and rid of inflammation. So 3-4 medicines, bingo, you are ready to go. No pain, no swelling, no inflammation, no water retention, nothing. You keep going and running. So everything body does to try to help itself and to alert us that we have to change, that what we are doing is harming us, is out the window, because now we have experts that basically say, well, screw this program, we are going to control it from a manual steering. Disconnect the autopilot. I'm going to do the steering. I'm going to put this medication and that medication and this, and you will have no pain, no swelling. You can do whatever you want to do. Well, for how long? Because things are going to continue deteriorating and faster. Because no pain. So you go and play soccer. You go and jog. Well, you are jogging with damaged joints. What do you expect to happen? Every time we go to see doctor to help us, doctor is only trained to create a chronic problem. And it does it basically by suppressing the body's natural healing and maintenance processes. Most doctors are not even aware of this. They think that this is the only thing that can be done, and they don't understand things. They said, well, you have a thick blood because you are getting older, and you have dehydrated cells because you are getting older, and you have wrinkles because you're getting older, and you are losing your mind because you are getting older. And if you are young and this is happening, well, you have bad genes. And if you just don't feel well and nothing can be seen, well, it's in your mind. Nothing is wrong with you. Well, this is because we are being blindfolded through the science. And not only through the science, we are being indoctrinated with laws of chemistry, biochemistry that don't exist. And we are being basically brainwashed into believing that certain processes occur, even though when we actually look at the results, we see results to be contrary to what it should be happening. And sometimes, yeah, you get beta blocker, you get diuretic, and your blood pressure drops. So, okay, I'm being cured. So it's okay, we'll keep the blood pressure down with this. Well, but why is the blood pressure high? What's going on? Must be genetics, must be age. You're getting old. Nonsense. Every time we use medicinal remedies, doesn't matter pharmaceutical or natural, the biological herbs, we are actually working against the autopilot of our body that is set to heal us. Sorry for the noise. I'm living in boondocks here. This is open radio, kind of. What can we do about arthritis? Number one, prevent it. Oops, prevention. Nobody talks about prevention. Well, eat correctly and hydrate correctly, and you'll be fine. You will never, ever, ever have any chronic health problem, arthritis included. But now, if you already have it, and I have many clients who one of the symptoms is arthritis as well, and osteoporosis, almost all of them. So, what do we do? Well, we have to rehydrate cells, all of them. And there is no way how you can hydrate certain cells and not others. Because you cannot control, you can control hydration with, for example, Robert Beck's blood electrifier. So you can control hydration of the cells which are exposed directly to the red blood circulation. And with magnetic pulsar, also Dr. Beck's, you can extend this to also lymphatic tissue. So you can force actually hydration, but if blood is toxic and you are forced and the cells shrivels and does not want this to come in, and now you are forcing it, but you are going to destroy the body. On a cellular level, you are just going to crash it. So you cannot just go and take the pulsar and start pulsating. You'll feel worse. So there is absolutely necessary to correct the diet and learn how to hydrate correctly, and learn what is the symptom, what the body tells us, how much plasma to drink, not water. You cannot hydrate with water. I always hear, well, I was on this protocol hydrating with distilled water and I felt so great, so young. It's the same like my friends Guillermo and his wife from France, when they have healed their chronic problems using self-healers protocol, and then wanted to experiment with algae, spirulina. You don't understand the body. You don't understand your symptoms. So if you become more energetic temporarily, you think, this is good for me. Well, the energy is electricity. So if you are putting something in your body and makes you suddenly more energetic, well, is what you are putting in your body increasing voltage? Well, distilled water will not increase voltage. Distilled water does not even conduct electricity. So if you feel more energetic, you feel younger, you feel more flexible, well, this means that level of electricity has increased, but not because directly related to the distilled water you were drinking, but because something happened that probably is not functioning, and electricity being used for this thing to happen now is available for other things. And what, in great majority of cases, what stops happening is cellular hydration and cleansing, body cleansing of body fluids, because this is very energy demanding. And if you bring in your body something that is going to interfere with hydration or cleansing process, it will stop. And it's huge amount of energy that is used there, because remember, for cellular hydration you have to make potassium, so you have to increase cellular voltage, jolting, to create cold fusion inside of the cell. It's highly energetic process. So if you stop all of a sudden hydrating, well, all this energy that was being used there all of a sudden is available to you to do whatever you want. So you feel like, whoa, I can do it. I really feel good. Same happened with Guillermo and spirulina. Pop and energy. Wow. Spirulina doesn't give you energy. Energy came because you are interfering with some processes in the body which now don't use electricity. You unplug refrigerator, your electric bill will drop. You unplug air condition, wow, you will not pay anything for electricity. But when you plug your stuff in that you need in a house, the draw on electricity is high. Your bills are going to be skyrocketing. So same thing is with the body. We just have to understand what causes certain symptoms. Sudden elevation of energy is a symptom. Now you have to see why, where it came from. Okay, I drank distilled water. So, does this distilled water bring electricity? Is it electroconductive? No. No and no. So obviously it didn't come from the water. So did this water cause something in a body that now more energy is being released? No, it cannot cause anything, really. But it can actually disturb. It changes the electroconductivity of your blood. Huh? So now electricity doesn't flow very well, so you use less of it. The electricity trickles up and more energy remains in certain areas where you can use it. But things are not, this is why I say, when we just look at one thing and relate it to whatever symptom, this is childish reasoning. Small amount of information, very easy to fix. So we have to keep that in mind. So now, how do we stop progress of deterioration of joints, and how do we stimulate rebuilding and healing? Self-healers protocol. It's all about the diet and hydration. And then understanding what is happening in the body, understanding the symptoms, and help the body with correcting the diet and giving the adequate amount of plasma that it needs to do its job. So when you have arthritis and you want to heal, when you start following the self-healers protocol, you are going to notice that things first get worse, because more garbage from the subcutaneous tissue, connective tissue that was left on a side because it was not, body was not able to eliminate it because there was lack of water, lack of plasma. As plasma level grow, now all this goes in the blood. Blood becomes more toxic, and your pain, your deterioration of joints is caused by this toxic blood. Cells cringe, they don't want to take this blood. And the alarm switches go on. One of the sensors to notify you something is bad is pain. Another one, inflammation increases just because it needs now to stimulate the deteriorating joint, and cell does not want to hydrate, so forced hydration is being implemented by the body. It's a self-preservation mechanism. So at the beginning, you're starting hydrating, pow, and then it's going to start calming down. But longer you have been medicated, the more dehydrated and more damaged your tissues and organs will be. So now when you start hydrating, well, there is much more garbage to be taken out, and then reparation of a tissue has to occur. And here you will need a lot of cholesterol. And this is why cholesterol during self-healers protocol always goes up. It goes down to on people who have very high cholesterol. We say, well, normal range of cholesterol is 180. Well, it's normal for people who don't eat correctly when they are in okay health. As the health starts deteriorating, cholesterol goes up because cells need way more of it for their protection and rebuilding, maintenance. And when you start following protocol, if your cholesterol was high, well, it actually drops. It stabilizes somewhere around 240. And this is actually the correct level of cholesterol that basically all people that eat correctly have. All. Low cholesterol is not a good sign, as well as the high cholesterol. And everyone who is on meat diet, strict meat diet, will have cholesterol about 240, which is proper level of our cholesterol, which again doctors will tell you, oh, it's too high, it's too high. Well, it's too high for vegan. Vegans have low cholesterol, unless they eat carbs, a lot of carbs. And then when the deterioration of the body starts occurring, it's occurring dehydration first, not deterioration. And cellular level dehydration doesn't cause much problems until it starts causing problems, and then it goes down quickly. The whole body goes down quickly. So when you start following the protocol, don't be discouraged. If you have arthritis, don't be discouraged with the symptoms that you notice at the beginning. And longer you have been under medical care, doesn't matter allopathic doctor or some alternate medicine doctor, if they are using medicinal remedies, they are basically suppressing the symptoms, nothing else. Deterioration occurs and continues. So, the longer you have been on it, the slower you are going to be recovering. This is why older people recover slower and very slow occasionally, especially vegans and vegetarians, because they are so damaged on cellular level and so dehydrated and toxic. And by slow recovery, 2 years, 2.5 years. But they recover. I receive letters from people that never contacted me before, just saying, Darko, thank you. I was watching your video, reading your articles, and I can't believe it took a while, but 2 years, 2.5 years, 1.5 years. Kids recover rapidly. You can stop the progress and bring them back to normal within months. Older you are, the more toxic you are, the more damaged you are, the longer it is going to take you to heal in this way. Soon we are going to be able to heal through simply adjusting the frequencies, and there's going to be rapid healing. But until the shift, this is not going to be possible now because we don't have access to this equipment. Some people do, but very few. So hopefully this week is going to be pretty strong. And this summer we will resolve the problems. And I believe that by fall we'll have access to many new healing instruments where you don't have to go through detox. You will just be realigning your frequencies. Like a tuning fork. Just tighten up those strings, adjust them. No detox, nothing. Pow, you come out and you're healthy. So, little patience. But until then, you can help yourself. Stopping the deterioration. If you are in terrible pain, well, unfortunately, when you are taking pain medication, you stop hydrating on cellular level. So you cannot control the pain and heal at the same time. Not this way. You can control the pain through your mind. So, or doing acupuncture. So you can put together Cellular's protocol and go to acupuncturist whenever you have a pain, because it just realigns energetic points. And this is not problematic. You still continue, your body continues working on cellular level, hydrating and cleansing, so that's fine. Having massages, it's helpful. Heating, increasing the heat. Remember, you increase the heat, you are transforming certain frequencies, and also you are speeding up chemical processes. So the healing speeds up. Going to saunas, Infrared sauna is fabulous. Soaking in a hot water, warm water. All this helps. Having a warm covering of joints that hurt to basically speed up the blood circulation there. All this helps to accelerate. Of course, using Beck's electric pulsar and magnetic pulsar. Electric pulsar for general hydration and detox, and magnetic pulsar directly on a joint affected. And if you decide to do it and you need a little guidance, just let me know. I'll give you some tips and clues, which again, I promise to do it. I'm always sidetracked with other stuff. So I'm gonna make a video on how to use this equipment. So there is a way of every problem. I am using food because that's something that we can kind of grasp. To talk like Joe Dispenza and using mind, it is way more difficult for many people. Okay, and especially for those religious ones. They don't believe much in a true power of spirit. Everything that happens, this is devil's work. This is what we are being told. Because again, don't forget who put Bible together. It's the Cabal. It's the Semites. Same stuff. So, you want to heal? Now you understand what is arthritis and basically how to go about it. Just follow the self-healer's protocol, and it may take time, but you are going to heal. The cartilage will rehydrate, regain the proper thickness. It can even rebuild itself. And munching on chondroitin, this is baloney, because it's a protein that breaks down in digestion into amino acids, and then your body decides what to do with them. So you get the same thing instead of chondroitin if you munch on egg or steak. It's way tastier and cheaper. Okay, my friends, family, relatives, thank you for listening. Try to tune your brain this way. Those who are first time listening to one of my videos, everything will be strange because the brain is not tuned to this frequency. So to more articles of mine that you read, you are starting to tune yourself to different understanding. And what doesn't make sense at the beginning will slowly start making sense. More information you get, more you are directed into this direction. All of a sudden, everything starts becoming crystal clear.